Okay, I'm call the regular meeting to order. Ask you please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular town board meeting for the month of May. We have approval of minutes. April 3rd, bid opening, Shore Road Sewage Treatment Plant. April 10th, the regular meeting. April 17th, special meeting. April 27th, bid openings, Munger Cottage generator, sanitary sewer flow monitoring. Is there a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
For second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Public comment, agenda items, anyone wishing to speak? Yes, Carla?
I have 3 items. The first is the cleanup happened this past Saturday, the second annual Riverkeeper Sweep at Donahue Memorial Park. Partnership with the Cornwall CAC, the village, and Riverkeeper. We had 75 young kids, teenagers, and adults.
Carla, are these on agenda items, or you want to give your report at the end?
Oh, okay.
This is just on agenda items.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, thank you. Anyone else on agenda items? Okay, hearing no one. First item we have on the agenda is a resolution regarding a state homeland security grant. The chief had submitted this to us. Whereas the town has received a proposed intermunicipal agreement between the County of Orange and the Town of Cornwall regarding fiscal year 2016 state law enforcement terrorism prevention program. And whereas under the terms of the agreement, the county would provide Town of Cornwall Police Department employees with alert training using instructors who have been trained by the Orange County Sheriff's Office, with expenditures to be covered by the $7,000 grant awarded to the town. Whereas the chief of police has recommended the town enter into the agreement with the county, now therefore be resolved as follows. The town board hereby agrees to enter into the annexed intermunicipal agreement between the county and the town and authorize the supervisor to execute the agreement and forward the same to the County of Orange. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next is a request from Chief Hazard. The software warranty on our automatic license plate reader is set to expire on July 31st, 2017. Respectfully request the town board consider purchasing an additional year of coverage from ELSAG at $995. Is there a motion on the request?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next, I have a letter from the Storm King Arts Center. Town of Cornwall request for town abandonment of Old Pleasant Hill Road. It's a lengthy letter which lays out the request from the Storm King Arts Center. I think several years ago, the town had abandoned a portion, the southern portion of the road to the Storm King Arts Center. And I'll just read the justification. In December 2016, Storm King acquired 12 Old Pleasant Hill Road. This purchase resulted in all properties with sole access on Old Pleasant Hill Road being under Storm King's ownership. Storm King would now like Old Pleasant Hill Road to be a private road. Abandonment by the town will relieve the town of the cost and time of its maintenance, service, and upkeep obligations. Storm King already manages extensive internal roads as well as the already abandoned portion of Old Pleasant Hill Road. With abandonment of the remaining portion, Storm King will take exclusive responsibility for maintenance, upkeep, and improvement of the primary access route to our sculpture park and museum. We do note that there is one property on the corner of Old Pleasant Hill Road and Orrs Mills Road. The property does have a driveway access from Orrs Mills as well as off of Old Pleasant Hill Road. The Art Center has indicated that if the property owner wishes to retain both access driveways, primarily the one on Old Pleasant Hill Road, that they will work out an agreement with them, an easement, whatever, to assure the person that they would have access. I know Anthony's here tonight. Anthony, is there anything you want to add to the letter?
No, I think
And your
we
request?
covered it. It was lengthy.
Okay, great. And Steve, I do have a resolution, but you had basically indicated to the board at the work session the process.
Yes, I reached out to Storm King Arts and I spoke with Anthony this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
And it appears that, we'll have to hear from the highway super, but it appears that we're going to be proceeding with discontinuance of the roadway. We can only do 1,000 feet at a time. I'm going to see if it's possible to do 2 lengths of road in discontinuance at the same time, or if we have to do them sequentially, which I suspect is going to be the case. But we'll find out. And the highway super will send a letter to, with a copy of this board to Storm King Arts Center stating what it is that has to be submitted for the discontinuance to go forward. And with any luck, we'll be in a position to take action on that in June.
Okay. I'll read the resolution. Whereas the town has received a request from Storm King Arts Center to abandon Old Pleasant Hill Road, which travels through the lands of SKAC. Whereas the abandonment would result in Old Pleasant Hill Road becoming a private road, relieving the town of the cost of maintenance, and therefore be resolved as follows. The town board hereby refers the annexed request of SKAC to the highway superintendent for his review and recommendation. One question I do have, Anthony, we discussed it. Is it the hopes of the art center that you may be able to alleviate some of the backup traffic during your busy times on Ores Mills Road?
Yeah, by having, at the moment, it's a 2-lane road with single ingress and egress, which is a safety issue for us. We're hoping in the future that we can maybe widen the road internally, which would allow us to process people in quicker. But yeah, those backups into Ores Mills are something we're really aware of. This is
Yeah, it is, because sometimes it does go right up back to 32.
It's terrible for the town. It's terrible.
So it's good for you guys, you know.
It's bad for our visitor experience.
Yeah.
So we'd like to get people in as quickly
All right.
as possible.
Good. Okay, is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, the motion is carried. Next is a request from the Greater Cornwall Chamber regarding the Recycling Day, Cornwall Goes Green Recycle Day. In the past couple of years, the town, working with the Greater Chamber, has had the Recycling Day, shredding. This year, they've expanded it, just legal shred, prescription drugs, printer ink cartridges, eyeglasses, hearing aids, sunglasses by the Lions Club, composting demonstration, clothing by Encore, electronics by the Highway Department, sharps containers, and also high school environmental science organic garden club. They're waiting to hear from the high school on that. It's been a successful event in the past, and I think the date is June 10th. It's going to be from 9 to 12, and the town will have our employees there for the electronics drop-off. And this year, we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to have the recycling for the electronics in the parking area by the tennis court, where the highway department will be able to set up, where people will be able to come in and do the drop-off. And it is limited to residents of the town of Cornwall, so they will have to show ID. I mean, last year, we were really overwhelmed with electronics. And primarily, it's the TV sets that really were the expensive part of the whole process. This year, we do plan on limiting TV sets to 3 at a maximum. You can bring in other electronics. We're not going to limit the number on other electronics, but the TV is really the big. We saw some monsters from a long time ago. So just we need a motion to approve the event.
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second,
Discussion?
could I ask,
Yes, ma'am.
is this the one where we participate in the fee?
We usually pay, the town's paid half of the shredding,
Do we have to put that in the motion?
the cost of shredding. Yeah, you can, we'll,
Adjust it to include
just
the
motion,
half.
of the fee for the shredding.
Okay,
Okay?
I did it,
Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. And, let's see, we have Touch a Truck. It's become an annual event. It's a request from the highway superintendent. May the undersigned be authorized to enter highway and sanitation equipment, sweeper, loader, plow truck, and garbage truck in a fundraiser for Mountainville Engine Company #3. The event will be held Saturday, June 10th from 12 noon to 4 p.m. in the Highland Engine Company #1 parking lot. Equipment will be dropped off on Friday, June 9th, and picked up on Monday, June 12th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move, second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next item is just to note for the record, Secretary of State has notified the town of the filing, transfer of lease assets, joint petition of New York American Water Company, Inc. and Beaver Dam Lake Water Company for an agreement sale. I think there are two notices here. I think the attorney has stated we just want to put this on the record. It doesn't require any action by the town.
No, that's right. This was noticed several months ago, and this is just a notification that the sale's become final.
Okay, thank you. Have a request from Cub Scouts Pack 20, rocket launch and barbecue. They want to do it over at by the Girl Scout cabin and Sands Ring. I think they did the project last year. The rocket launch is not NASA from Cape Canaveral. It's actually a little small rocket that they work on, and I was there last year when they shot it off, and it's a good event for the Scouts. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move, second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Have a request from Hudson Valley National Adult Baseball Association. My name is Mike Milliken. I am and have been a resident of Cornwall almost my entire life. I manage and play on a team in the Hudson Valley National Adult Baseball Association. I'd like to request permission for my team to use the senior field at Cornwall Little League Complex for practice only. At this time, I do not have specific dates and times, but I've spoken with Kevin Brady and am willing to coordinate with him for the use of the field. My teammates are also willing to help with maintaining the field if needed. We'll follow all rules and regulations while using the field, and we'll make sure we always clean up after ourselves. If needed, I can provide proof of insurance that we have through the HVN ABA. Season starts June 4th, in dire need of a good field for practice. Please take this into consideration making your decision. Thank you. Very truly, Mike Milliken. I think our requirement would be standard on the insurance. We have a
Yes.
certificate of insurance, name of the town as an additional insured. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Okay, we have two resolutions, actually three on Kovac. I am switching number 9 and 10 to begin with the ambulance district remainder funds. I'll read the resolution. Whereas heretofore the Cornwall Ambulance District and Cornwall Ambulance Corporation, DBA, Cornwall Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Kovac, entered into a contract for provision of pre-hospital emergency medical services, EMS. And whereas said agreement required the use of the town of Cornwall's Clinton Street building as a base for said services, and whereas the town now intends to dissolve the Cornwall Ambulance District, and whereas an agreement between the town and the district for continued use of the town's Clinton Street building as a base for EMS service is necessary, whereas the town and the district have prepared the annexed agreement which sets forth the terms and conditions for use of the Clinton Street building in return for the remaining funds in the district, whereas this is a type 2 action under SECRA, now therefore be resolved as follows, that on behalf of the town and the district, the town board hereby approves the annexed agreement and authorizes the execution of the same. Steve, anything to add to that?
Well, the only thing I would add is that because you're all district commissioners, the contract between the district and the town provides for signature by all of you, whereas on the town's behalf, you just need the supervisor's signature. So perhaps sometime before the meeting's over, since except for Carrie, we're all here, we just pass this around and have it signed by everyone.
Okay, is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next is a resolution dissolving the ambulance district.
Well, it's not dissolving it yet, it's the plan for dissolution of the
Right.
ambulance district.
Well, that's what it's put on. Okay, this is to begin the process.
Right.
Do you want to explain further that, the process works, Steve?
If you want me to, sure.
Yeah, because it's actually a short time frame. This is not a long, drawn-out process.
Sure. The district, by virtue of the agreements that have been entered between Kovac and the town, will, at the end of basically 35-day period, have no assets left in it. And so this plan sets forth exactly how that's going to happen. And we'll hold a public hearing at the second meeting in June to consider the issue of whether the district should be dissolved or not. It seems like there are good reasons to do that. OVAC's on board with it, but we hold a public hearing and you get all points of view. And if at the end of the public hearing, after closing it, the board decides to go forward with the dissolution, at that time, the resolution will be adopted, actually dissolving the district. The plan itself does nothing. You have to actually dissolve the district. And once the district is dissolved, the town will be served pursuant to the agreement between the town and COVAC by COVAC as an independent ambulance service.
Okay, read the resolution. Whereas in order to dissolve an ambulance district, Article 17A of New York State General Municipal Law requires that the governing body prepare a plan of dissolution. Whereas the town board has before it a dissolution plan for the Cornwall Ambulance District. Whereas under the terms of the plan, the town will cease providing municipal ambulance service and will rely upon private ambulance service, particularly such as will continue to be provided in the town of Cornwall and the village of Cornwall Hudson by COVAC. Now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, the town board hereby adopts the annexed dissolution plan for the Cornwall Ambulance District. 2, the town board hereby authorizes and directs the publication and posting of the same in accordance with general municipal law regulations. And 3, the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on the dissolution of the district for June 12th, 2017 at 7:00 p.m. and directs that notice of the public hearing be given not less than 10 days nor more than 20 days prior to the public hearing. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next on COVAC, because it is taking us a little longer with the dissolution of the district, a resolution, whereas heretofore the town of Cornwall and Cornwall Ambulance Corps, DBA Cornwall Volunteer Ambulance Corps, COVAC, entered into a contract for provision of pre-hospital emergency services within the town's ambulance district. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of the contract effective as of March 1, 2016, between the parties and the town, advised COVAC that it intends to dissolve the ambulance district, and COVAC agreed not to object to the dissolution. Whereas it is appropriate for the town on behalf of the ambulance district and COVAC to extend the agreement for the provision of the above services until such time as the district is dissolved. Now therefore be resolved as follows, that the town board hereby extends the contract between the ambulance district and COVAC from until such time as the district is dissolved. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. So public hearing is scheduled for June 12th at 7 o'clock, which is our regular meeting. We have another request from the Chamber, Cornwall Art Fest. The Cornwall Art Fest is scheduled for Saturday, August 5th, with a rain date of Saturday, August 12th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'd like to use the grounds in front of Town Hall, the Duck Pond, Sands Ring, and the apron of Bridge Street. Cornwall Public Library has agreed to let us use their indoor and outdoor space. Local artists will be performing live demonstrations on how they create their work while offering their completed works for sale. They'll provide their own tent and supplies needed for their work. We plan to invite local musicians to come play acoustic music throughout the day in the area we use for the music at the park. We look forward to this being another successful chamber event. Is there a motion to approve the event?
So moved?
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next, the American Legion has sent a letter to the town on behalf of Post 353, invite you and the town board to join us on May 29th for the annual Memorial Day Parade and services. The parade starts at Payson Road in Cornwall on Hudson at 10 a.m. and follows the traditional route. Please contact me if you have any questions. So the parade kicks off at 10, and then we have the ceremony at the Triangle at around 11 o'clock.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
I heard that, the Legion isn't gonna do the barbecue this year, they're gonna do the breakfast.
The Legion is going back to doing the breakfast, which was done for decades,
Yeah.
but the numbers had dropped. But the Legion is holding the, what's going to become hopefully again an annual breakfast the Sunday before, which would be the 28th, at the Legion Cottage up behind Munger Cottage. So it's like a pancake breakfast, and hopefully the public will attend and support the Legion. Thanks, Helen. Let's see. Okay, the town, next item is the generator for Munger Cottage project. This was a grant that was received through Community Development Block Grant. The town had gone out to bid, and the letter from Agoe Hauser Netzel listing the 4 bids that were received. The bidder, Olympic Electric, $42,150, and the alternate was $5,900, which the alternate is for the fencing that would surround the generator. Nanini and Callahan, $53,713.52, the alternate $2,765.40. Gentech Limited, $41,782, the alternate $28.91. And Power with Prestige, $98,000, and the alternate $17,700. Based on a review of the scope of work and proposals submitted, it is our opinion that the bid values are in line with current construction costs. The grant from Orange County is $40,000, leaving the difference paid by the town. Gentech has worked for several municipalities and our offices for many projects, and their work has been acceptable every time. Based on the status, our opinion, they are capable of completing the project work in a satisfactory manner. Based on the above, it is our recommendation that if the project funding permits, the town of Cornwall award the project to Gentech Limited in a base bid amount of $41,782 and additional alternative of $28.91 for a total sum of $44,623. The town decides to do so, notice of award should be sent to the contractor as soon as possible. I have a resolution, whereas the town solicited bids for the Munger Cottage generator project, whereas on April 27, 2017, 4 bids were received were opened and read aloud, and whereas by letter dated April 28, 2017, the consulting engineers for the town have recommended the following: that the bid received from Gentech Limited in the base price of $41,782, an additional alternative of $28.91 for a total of $44,623 is reasonable relative to the work involved, that the project should be awarded to Gentech Limited. Whereas the Munger Cottage generator project is a Type 2 action under SECRA, and therefore be resolved as follows. 1, that the town board hereby awards the Munger Cottage generator contract to Gentech Limited in the total sum of $44,623. 2, that the town board directs that notices of award be sent to Gentech Limited and to the consulting engineers. And 3, the supervisor be authorized to execute the above contract together with other related documents. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Moved, second by Helen.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion carried. One advantage, and that's one of the reasons we had the interest over the years of having the generator. In the event of emergency, storms, power failures, having the generator at Munger will help us open that up as a warming shelter for any residents that are displaced as a result of storms and all. So this is something we've been trying to do for a number of years, and we're going to be able to accomplish that.
And we received grant money for this as well.
$40,000 is the grant. Okay, we have 3 resolutions regarding bonding. The first one is the secret on the repaving of Town Hall lot. I'll read the resolution. Whereas the town board is considering the adoption of a proposed $75,000 bond resolution for repaving of Town Hall parking lot, whereas the town must consider SECRA review in regard to the same, and therefore be resolved as follows. After considering all the information presented to it, the town board determines that the proposed bond is a Type 2 action under SECRA. Is there a motion? The resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Was last evening, did we discuss this at the work session, the paving?
We've discussed it during the year, the need for paving, not just the town, this was done about 20 years ago. And initially, we thought we may bond the entire project, which could be $130,000 or $140,000. But in the interim, I've submitted a letter to Senator Larkin asking for a member grant. And in the member grant, requesting money for paving the recreation areas, the Town Hall, Little League Road, the playground area, and the Munger Cottage areas. And included in that also the replacement of all the windows in the Town Hall and making the rear handicap access to the building with automated.
Right, I remember that discussion.
Yeah. And in doing so, then that just leaves us, at this point, just bonding just for the town hall complex here, which is estimated to be probably between 65 and 75,000.
What do we look at the other projects, which I thought were a little more urgent?
Well, this is, we've reached a point in discussing with the highway superintendent and all, if we don't do repaving, then we're really gonna lose the blacktop areas that are out there, because they're all breaking up from water, and they've been down for 20 years. So this is one way that we can accomplish it. Hopefully, if we get the grant through Senator Larkin, that'll take care of the other side of the project. So I will just read the resolution, or I have a motion to waive the total reading.
That would be.
We'll do that first. Is there a motion to waive the total reading? And I'll just read the
We
resolution.
voted on secret already, right?
No, not yet.
We didn't-
Oh, you had a question, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Roll call, then on the
Well, we
secret.
have a first
No
or
motion
second.
or second.
I need a motion and
But
a
did
second.
you-
Not on this
How do we
one.
get the
We're just
discussion?
He
discussing.
did it.
Oh. Is there a motion on the
I
resolution?
move, I move.
Thank you.
Move, there's a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Okay, now a motion to waive the reading of the entire document, the resolution.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. I'll read the bond resolution, part of it. Bond resolution, the Town of Cornwall, New York, adopted May 8th, 2017, authorizing repaving of the parking lot at Town Hall, stating that the estimated maximum cost thereof is $75,000, appropriating a set amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds in the principal amount of $75,000 to finance said appropriation. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. Just coincidentally, when we did all this paving, we did it all I think about 20 years ago, we did all the blacktops here at the town hall. We did the Little League Road, we did the Little League area, we did the wading pool playground, we did Munger Cottage area, and I think that was like $70,000 back then.
Everything.
Of course, candies were a nickel at the time, it didn't have nickel bars, so. But the thing too, with the blacktop, just because it is important, I mean, the facilities here get used so much. A lot of crowds, kids, the use of, the town hall facilities here, the recreation facilities, it is something that we do want to keep up, certainly even from a liability
I was
standpoint.
gonna say from the light.
Yeah, the more deterioration we have, the more exposure we have for the facilities. Okay, the next item is acquisition of sanitation vehicle, I think this one is on the truck. I'll read the resolution on the seeker. Whereas the town board is considering the adoption of a proposed $230,000 bond resolution for acquisition of a rear load packer truck. Whereas the town must consider seeker review in regard to the same. Now therefore be resolved as follows, that after considering all the information presented to the town board determines that the proposed bond is a type 2 action under seeker. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, please. We didn't talk about this a lot at the work session, but we did talk about it in the past. And one of the things that I had worked on in anticipation of discussing purchasing a rear loader was looking at the value of a side loader with a mechanical arm. That vehicle costs about $50,000 more than the rear loader. And the advantage is 50 to 60% headcount reduction, 50% reduction in workers' comp, and a 25% improvement in efficiency. And, I'm not sure with the urgency with replacing this particular vehicle, but I think there's also the opportunity to look at combining services with the village. And I know you're going to be in meetings starting in August with Orange County Executive's Office. And I wonder if this is something we might want to delay until we get more information and find out, whether there are grant monies and other funds that are available that make it more appealing to defer this until we know a little bit more about the grant program that they're suggesting for consolidation of services.
Yeah, Actually, we're really well aware, we did meet with Eugene Conley, and Kerry and I met with the contractor for the vehicles. Had an extensive discussion with them several months ago. Looked at the side loader with the arm. It certainly, for all the reasons you listed, it makes sense. The problem right now is we have to replace the garbage truck based on the condition, number one. Number two, the side loader price increased from like $275,000 to $315,000 in a matter of months. So it's $315,000, not just $50,000 more. And the other item was that in order to go to the side loader, we had the highway superintendent put together, what his phase one would be for that kind of a transition for the town. Came up with the western part of the town with about 800 customers, if you will. And you're looking at upwards of $100,000 just to buy the containers for the 800 customers. And we have probably about 3,200 townwide. So it's an expensive proposition. The one thing that we are doing with this truck, this does include a back, they call it a tipper or flipper, because unfortunately,
It's one of the most dangerous jobs in town.
well, there's no question, and you do get a lot of complaints from it. But by putting this device on the back, we have a lot of residents now who have oversized containers, which really violates our town code, but in trying to accommodate. This truck will be equipped with a mechanical device that they can wheel the container up to the back of the truck, and instead of having to lift it or empty
They'll
it,
tip it.
they can put it on the
The current
tripper,
trucks have that.
and it'll throw it.
I watched them when they
Yeah.
did the bulk pickup.
So that's really where we're at, Michael. I mean, this is something that we have to do at this point. Any transition is going to be certainly
Years.
long-term, so that's why we're doing this
But
at
you
this
did
point.
put a lot of effort into.
Oh, we spent a lot of
researching
time on it, and Eugene Conley's put a lot of time developing numbers and all. Like I said, the truck increased from like 275,000 to 315,000 in a matter of months, for whatever reason. Even this truck went up probably 15,000 in the period of time that we were looking at them.
Well, it's cheaper than the one I was looking at.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion to waive the reading of the entire resolution for the bonding.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I'll read the resolution, bond resolution of Town of Cornwall, New York, adopted May 8th, 2017, authorizing the acquisition of a rear loader Packer truck for the sanitation department, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $230,000, appropriating said amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds in the principal amount of $230,000 to finance said appropriation. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Move to second discussion. Roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. And what we're also included in this, we're hoping to purchase extended warranty on this and the other vehicles we're talking about, because as the highway superintendent said, as these vehicles become more technical in terms of pollution devices and all, the one-year warranty doesn't do much for it. So we're looking at purchasing the extended warranty, I believe, for 5 years to
How
help.
long does it take to get the truck? Is there a long?
It depends on the availability. Sometimes they have them available, and other times you have to wait until they're put into production. Okay, we have the roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, the motion is carried. And the third resolution is highway equipment. Whereas the town board is considering the adoption of proposed $359,000 bond resolution for acquisition of highway equipment, and whereas the town must consider secret review in regard to the same, now therefore be it resolved as follows. That after considering all the information presented to it, the town board determines that the proposed bond is a type 2 action under secret. Is there a motion in the resolution?
So moved.
Moved by Alan, second by Peter.
Sure.
Discussion?
Do we have a list of all the equipment that we're intending to buy?
Yeah, we discussed it. There's only 2 right now for the highway department. One is a large dump truck with the wing plow. The other is a new front-end loader. That's the only 2 pieces. There is, just to note, there's another large truck that we're hoping to purchase. And that's through Senator Larkin has given the town a grant but it takes a period of time, may not be until next year. That'll cover 2/3 of the cost of the truck probably. But at that time, then we'll address the financing or funding of the, so they're the only two items right now for the highway. Okay,
Roll call.
roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Okay, we're going to waive the reading of the,
That's what that vote
did we do
was.
that? That was that the seeker?
That was,
The seeker?
no, that was the bonding.
Okay. I
That was
read the
number
resolution.
20.
That was waiving of the,
Oh, no, you read that resolution.
yeah, we
Resolution,
waived it.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
waived the reading and we did that. Now we're
Yes.
going, okay.
So
We're
we
good
should
with
be
that.
on 21.
We got all three of them out of the way. We usually don't do this much bonding, but the attorney has requested that we break this down into, into three parts for the legal part of it, so you have to bear with us while
Okay.
we work through it. Okay, Sands Ring Cemetery amended petition. Steve, you want to just touch on that?
Sure. The Sands Ring Cemetery has a potentially substantial amount of trust money outstanding. It's being held over by Bank of New York Mellon. And we have commenced, the town has commenced, an action to allow the trust funds to be turned over to the town for use in upkeep and maintenance of the cemetery, and possibly some ancillary cemetery activities, which, you know, will enhance the appearance and utility of the cemetery. Because it's not an active cemetery at this point, it's a historic site more than anything else. The New York State Attorney General is involved in the proceedings and wants to make sure that everything's done in a manner which they find to be legal and appropriate as far as dispensation of trust funds, which in this case are for a public purpose. So they've come in, having reviewed the petition, having reviewed the trust, and suggested a few changes as far as how the petition should be set forth for the town to access the funds. This is the second time that the Attorney General has done this, and the court, of course, accedes to the Attorney General's wishes as far as trust fund money goes. So what we have to do is revise the petition to include the items that they want to see, and refile it and reserve it. And then we should be in a position to go forward and actually get a judgment allowing the town to access the trust fund money. So this resolution just allows the supervisor to sign that amended petition.
Okay, whereas heretofore on November 30th, 1932, the Sands Ring Cemetery, Family Cemetery Corporation deeded certain lands to the town of Cornwall, which lands incorporated the Sands Ring Cemetery together with certain lots adjoining the cemetery. Whereas Bank of New York Mellon is the custodian of certain monies which appear to be the fund established in 1930s by the Sands Ring Family Cemetery Corporation, the income from which and so much of the principal as may be necessary is to be used for maintenance and care of the cemetery and the lots. And whereas the town has petitioned the Surrogates Court to secure an order permitting BNY Mellon to turn over the funds to the town of Cornwall for the use as aforesaid, and whereas the town has prepared certain amendments to the original petition to be submitted to the Surrogates Court, and therefore be resolved as follows. The supervisor is authorized to execute the annexed second amended verified petition together with such other documents as may be appropriate in this matter. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Move second. I just want to add under discussion that the town doesn't receive these funds, the funds will remain with the bank in the trust. What the town will do, once we get authorization, we will initially take a look at the cemetery, see what restoration might be necessary and improvements to the cemetery, and we'll be submitting a plan. I think the Attorney General's office has to basically approve the plan. And then the town would be in a position to draw on the funds to do the work that's necessary for the cemetery and for the upkeep on an ongoing basis.
Just curious, what was the initial amount that was put aside?
Well, oddly enough, they won't tell us that until we're allowed to access it. So we have a fairly good idea that it's a substantial amount, but to say that it's X or Y, or was X or Y originally.
I just
We
know
will
the
find
time
out.
value of money since 1932.
No, it's, yeah, absolutely. We'll find out eventually, though. If we report, you'll be able to find out.
Okay, roll call?
Did we have a,
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried.
It was myself and Michael.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, there it is. I see it. Thank you.
Okay, I have a resolution on the Affordable Care Act. We have had for the past couple of years to retain a firm to monitor the program and work with the town, making sure that we meet all compliance under the Affordable Care Act. I have a resolution, whereas the town board has received the attached consulting agreement between the town of Cornwall and Corporate Plans, Inc., DBA, CPI, HR, in connection with the Affordable Care Act. Whereas the town board requires consultations and advice relating to the town's health and welfare benefits programs mandated by the ACA, now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, the town board hereby agrees to enter into the annexed agreement with the CPI HR for the annual fee of $7,650 payable in 4 quarterly installments for a term expiring on April 30th, 2018. 2, that the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute the same and all documents necessary to effectuate terms therein. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Discussion?
can you explain exactly what this gives us?
What it gives us is, and I am not happy doing this, believe me, because it's almost $8,000. It's basically, they are the ones that are the experts in the Affordable Care Act with regard to health coverage, to the requirements and costs and so forth. And they keep track of the records for the town, and they advise the town. You really have to have this. I really, it's unfortunate. But if you go astray, we'd be subject to fines and penalties
Yeah.
for not complying with the ACA.
So they're the experts on these,
They're the experts on it.
and we don't want to get involved.
We don't want to get involved in that. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. Next item, I&I, inflow and infiltration, monitoring program. A couple items I have on that. The first, I received a letter from the New York State DEC regarding the 2016 infiltration inflow monitoring annual report from the town. The Supervisor Randazzo, this office is in receipt of the annual infiltration inflow monitoring annual report dated December 23rd, 2016, prepared by McGoey-Hauser and Etzel, consulting engineers, and submitted in accordance with the requirements of the Speedies permit. The report was reviewed by Division of Water Staff and is hereby approved. Thank you for your cooperation, Amanda DeAngelis. In discussing this with McGoey-Hauser and Etzel, they've revised the plan on the I&I program a few times. This last plan has really highlighted what we're hoping to be the final evaluation of our sewer collection system for the Cornwall Sewer District. And once that is all done, then we will be in a position to move forward with doing the repairs and upgrades. So right now, it's good to know that they've accepted our timeline. Along with that, the town went out to bid for the monitoring of the last part of the collection system, involving 7 flow meters. The base bid from Harold Construction was $35,000, and that's for 1 month of monitoring and alternate each additional week, $1,250, based on the scope proposal. If any of the bid values are not in line with current construction costs, and therefore the bid should be rejected. Based on several previous bids, it's our opinion that work should cost approximately $25,000. If you have any questions, please let us know, Sean or not. So I think the first thing we need is a motion to reject the bid.
So moved.
Moved, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. The good news is that the engineer, working with the engineer and in concert with some equipment that New Windsor has, we're going to try to move ahead. Our plan is to move ahead and utilizing 3 monitors from New Windsor. We're going to rent 4 monitors for $1,200 each for the month. And we have an outside consultant that will install the monitors and do the analysis, and will save us considerably less money than what the bids would have been. So
It'll cost considerably less money.
it
Save us.
will save us.
Mhm.
Yes, it will save us. And of course, the good part on this is the fact that this should be, based on the analysis, we may have to do some TV work, depending on what the analysis shows. If that's done, then hopefully this year we will have completed all of the analysis of the entire Cornwall collection system. So this will then put us on track to then look at how we're going to resolve many of the issues that are out there.
So where is that end zone of the collection system?
It's,
Where they'll be planted?
I'm not sure what the last section is. They've done various sections in the town. I'm not sure, but the system is primarily east of 9W. I think we have a couple properties on the west side of 9W, including, I think, Cornwall Commons is part of it, and the center of the village where they have sewer service. That's all part of the sewer plant. But the village has their own collection system. We don't maintain that. So this is really just the town portion for the collection system. But again, by doing this, we'll be in a much better position to determine how we're going to move ahead. The engineers have pulled together a proposal that's being sent up to EFC to see if there's any grant money available for it. Again, it's anticipated it's going to be a multi-million-dollar project, but one that DEC is expecting the town to complete.
And what is the timeline on that? What is their timeline for us that we have to solve this?
Well, I think with the schedule, we had agreed that we would complete all the monitoring and analysis during 2017. So this is the last part of it. It's been going on for a few years now. So this is the last part of it. So is there a motion to authorize moving forward with the revised plan to get the monitoring done and the analysis? I think we would probably mutually agree.
Of the camera from
New Windsor.
and
We're going to rent 4 devices.
rent 4.
And we're going to hire the outside
And
consultant.
we'll have an outside consultant that we'll contract with. We will contract with.
So those monies are not large enough for bidding, right? And
No.
we need to vote for that?
Yeah, well, we'll,
Need to vote. We need to spend the money, absolutely.
yeah, because I think we all have to understand what the plan is. Hopefully, this is going to be somewhere around $15,000, maybe a couple $1,000s more.
So we don't have to go out to
How it
bid.
goes. No, we don't have to
It's
bid
under
for
our
it.
procurement policy.
So, and then we can just draw up an agreement.
Yeah, if you want to make the resolution subject to submission of a formal agreement and, to the town attorney's satisfaction. That should do it.
Okay,
Okay,
you got that, right?
got it. Yes, or I do.
Is there a motion?
What he said.
Yes.
What he
Second.
Got it.
Discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. I think we covered that. Just to note by the record and authorize it with the refunding of the one serial bond we're working on and the rollover of it. The money's going to be deposited through this Bank of New York Mellon division. It's not one of our listed banks, so I just want the board to approve authorizing the Mellon Bank to be one of our depositories. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Move second by Helen. Discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. I have a couple of good news items. After the town had requested the DOT community outpouring on the intersection of Route 94 and Jackson Avenue. Assemblyman Skoufis, Senator Larkin, myself, and a few others met with DOT officials last year. We adopted a resolution and requested a traffic light be installed at that intersection, which I believe is probably one of the most dangerous intersections in our community. There's been a number of accidents. It's just a difficult intersection to really to travel through. I do have a letter from DOT today, received it. It says, thank you for your correspondence to the New York State Department of Transportation regarding your request for a traffic signal at the intersection of Route 94 and Jackson Avenue in the town of Cornwall, Orange County. In response to your request, the New York State DOT conducted a traffic signal study at the above-mentioned intersection. As a result of our study, New York State DOT has decided to install a traffic signal at the intersection. At this time, New York State DOT is unable to give a date for installation of signal. However, it will be added to a future signal contract. We appreciate your interest and thank you for your efforts on behalf of the residents of Cornwall. The way the state does this, they wait until they get a few traffic lights that are going to be installed, and they put a contract out so that there's several at a time. So hopefully it won't be that long a period of time before they get out with the contract and be able to move forward. But that's really good news, I think, for the community. The other bit of good news is last week, Chief Hazard, myself, and Highway Superintendent met with DOT representatives for bridges. Probably in the late 90s, the DOT had a plan of rehabbing 9W from Angola Road to, I think, the New Windsor line. And that included work on all of the bridges. And then it was postponed for 3 years, and then it was postponed for 5 years. But the bridge people came down and saw us last week, and they are finishing up the engineering for 5 spans in the town of Cornwall. 2 of the spans, the Willow Avenue Bridge and the Angola Road Bridge, will be completely replaced. The 2 other spans are the overpasses, one at 218, the other at Quaker Avenue. They will be rehabbed, and there's a culvert that goes under the road for the stream that comes from Black Rock before you start up the mountain, and that'll also be part of it. So they're hoping to have the engineering and everything done next spring so they can get out to bid and either start the work late summer next year or the following year to get the work done. Long overdue.
2 more years.
Yeah, but we're getting there. And I asked them if this was real, if they actually had the money, and they said they do. There's a Bridge New York program that is already, the money's already earmarked for the work in Cornwall. So this is a definite go with them. So we thank the DOT on both those news items. I have a number of requests for training. First is from the Highway Superintendent to attend the Highway School at Ithaca College, June 12th, 13th, and 14th. The cost $110 plus $462 for lodging, from Eugene Conley. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. And I request the bookkeeper, Pam Wood, she has taken the basic principles and procedures in accounting for municipalities, Division of Local Government, and School Accountability, and that was a few years ago. They're now offering the Advanced Accounting School, and that's in Wappingers, May 23rd to 25th, $85 charge. Is there motion to approve the training?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. And a request from Chief Hazard, request authorization to attend annual New York State Association of Chiefs Training Conference to be held July 23rd through July 27th in Syracuse, New York. Conference registration is $225 and lodging is $102 per night, for a total of $633 for registration and lodging. There's funding in the Chiefs training line of the police budget. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Under personnel, I have the list from the Recreation Department for the various seasonal positions: recreation clerk, soccer camp, basketball, tennis camp, lifeguards. Is there a motion to approve the seasonal employees?
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I do want to, because it comes up every year, because we do approve the hiring, I just would like to have a motion that would authorize the supervisor to, sometimes we get vacancies that occur, and rather than wait for a town board meeting, it might be one employee, or she has to hire an additional referee or something, just authorizing the supervisor to move ahead with the seasonal employees as may be needed.
So moved. I'm okay.
Second, move the second,
You
discussion.
would bring it up at the next subsequent meeting, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it
Action
would,
mistake.
like I said, it could be just one person, or she's hiring just like I said, it's an additional referee or something. It's not, it's not necessarily additional people. It should maybe fill in a vacancy or a need, but on recreation, you're the liaison, so we talk on it here. Okay, so roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I have a memo from the Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds recommending Sean Watts, who's a laborer in our sanitation department. Sean has requested to fill the vacant position in Buildings and Grounds, groundskeeper. He will be, he's been with the town several years, but he will be starting at step one with groundskeeper based on the contract. This will be effective May 15th. Is there a motion to approve the transfer of Sean Watts from sanitation to buildings and grounds to step one groundskeeper?
So moved.
Second.
Second discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
You agreed to everything?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
And answer. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried.
I'm
Can
waiting
I
for
ask
him.
a question on the building and grounds? Did we ever get a resignation from,
He retired.
oh, he retired? so-
He retired.
Okay.
The last week ago Friday, I think was his last
So it
day.
just fades away until the sunset.
Senior Recreation Committee, I think, Helen, you have a recommendation for 2 new members?
Yes, Kathy Ferrara and Sally Ryan would like to be approved to join our senior advisory committee.
Is it motion?
That's the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, roll call?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I have a memo from Chief Hazard and a letter from Cameron Zuzak. I'm writing regarding my employment as dispatcher of the Town of Cornwall Police Department. I'd like to request the board's approval for my resignation as of May 2017 Town Board meeting. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion?
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. One other item that I do have is under personnel, the town will have to meet, board will have to meet. We have to pick a night that we can meet to address a personnel issue, the highway/sanitation department.
Yeah, the grievance, isn't it?
Yes, the grievance. So, I don't know if everybody has their calendar.
Is this closed session, executive session?
I believe it will be.
Yeah, we're gonna start an open session, then probably move to close.
Okay.
What does, I'm looking at like next Tuesday, May 16th? 7 o'clock?
The Lions.
Lions. I don't have a Wednesday with, or a problem with Wednesday, the 17th either. 17th good?
That's
Wednesday?
fine.
I can't make the 17th, I expect me to be there.
No.
Okay.
Wednesday the 17th, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, Wednesday 17th, 7 o'clock?
Okay.
Okay, then we'll meet, special meeting, then we'll go into
So that's all carried.
executive session, yes. Okay, so 5:17, 7. One other item I do want to mention is Armed Forces Day is May 20th, and the Sands Ring trustees, and I think the Friends are going to be involved in concert with the American Legion Post 353. We want to have a day to collect items that can be sent over to our troops overseas. So we're going to have it from 10:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock on Saturday, May 20th. We're going to get a list of the items out, we'll get it on our website, we're going to get it in the newspaper, and through the Legion, they'll also accept cash donations because for paying for the shipping of the items that we do get. But it's a great opportunity for us to show our support to the troops, and coincidentally, I think in research it's been shown that approximately 100 years ago in World War I, Sands Ring was used for the exact same purpose of collecting items to support our troops. So it's a mission that
So
Sands
it's at
Ring has
Sands
been on.
Ring. It's at Sands Ring.
At Sands Ring. Okay, committee reports. Councilwoman Bunn.
Okay, building and grounds, looks like it had a better month. Permits issued 25, CCs 10, COs 7, on-site inspections 44, complaints 8, stop work orders 1, fire inspections 10, permit fees were $7,007, and fees for municipal searches were $2,700, but there are still no projects before the planning board and 1 before the zoning.
Okay.
And the COVAC is COVAC, the resolutions, and I think we're meeting tomorrow.
We're meeting tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, so, the Senior Advisory Committee, we had a very, very, very successful luncheon. 88 seniors came out, and they were thrilled. And I think we collected around 45 questionnaires, which was our goal to do. So we did come up with, we kind of sat together and prioritized, and jazzercise and movie were the top 2. We couldn't get someone to jazzercise, teach that, but we do have someone to teach body shaping, which is a toning class. And so we are gonna make arrangements to start that. The movie will be May 19th. And we have someone from the Knights is going to supply a screen and a projector for us, and we will have light refreshments. The other thing that they're looking at doing, 2 major things, a talent show, seniors have talent, and also we're going, years and years ago, the PBA did a barbecue for the seniors at Munger. So we don't know if the PBA will help us or not, we'll tap on their door, but we're gonna try for the next big rally to have a barbecue in the summer for them. So those are the things that we were thinking of. They do already have a lot of day trips planned, and we're happy that Kathy and Sally are joining us. It was a very productive meeting today.
Good. Good. Anything further, Helen?
No, I'm good.
No? Councilman Summerfield.
I don't have anything for wire and cable, and since Carla's here, I'll allow Carla to go through what happened at the last meeting and the cleanup.
Okay. Councilman Russell?
For sewer, for the Shore Road, routine maintenance, this is for the month of April, routine maintenance down Shore Road, and the good news is all measured parameters within permit limits for the Shore Road facility. That was the good news. Now we're over to First Cliff. For the month of April, they had their annual DEC inspection, and that went well. However, again, the flow is not within permit limits. We're 4/100ths over again, but again, that's all due to infiltration, and that's maintaining your infrastructure, like you talked about the parking lots. Same concept. The unfortunate thing with sewer is that the federal government and the state government, back when they built these plants, paid for over 90%. Now to balance their budgets, they don't pay, they pay 0.
Right.
So it's great that the government gets to balance their budget on our backs. But the other measured permits, other limits were within permit limits, so that's the good news. On the police department for April, calls for service, 771. Motor vehicle accidents reported were 25. Alarms, both residential and business combined, 41. Ambulance requests, 22. There were 13 animal complaints. Disabled vehicles were 17. Suspicious vehicles and persons were 26. There were 8 house checks performed and 36 assists of other agencies. And we already covered the resignation of the dispatcher and the other items. Now under recreation, coming up, Pilates and yoga, May 9th through June 8th. There's also a tennis club, which is May 10th through June 7th, and that includes 3- and 4-year-olds, kindergarten, and up 3rd and 4th grade as well. Anyone interested in that should contact recreation. And also this summer, there's going to be numerous camps. There's a soccer camp from June 26th through June 29th. There's kayaking from June 28th through August 30th. There's a tennis camp from July 10th, and then it has through July 14th, and then also the 17th through July 21st. Summer playground is July 3rd through August 11th. Kinder camp is July 3rd through August 11th. There's a track and field camp from July 10th through July 13th, and a basketball camp from July 10th through July 14th. So there's a quiz at the end. We'll remember all those dates. There's also, if you really like to plan ahead, in November 2nd, there's a Taking a Chance on Love Cabaret, Anthony's Pier 9, $52 a person, featuring the songs of Tony Bennett, Ella Fitzgerald, and Frank Sinatra. That includes a buffet lunch. Again, if you're interested, please contact Recreation. I already talked about tennis, Pilates yoga, and then there's Little Maestro music at the Kovac building, Thursdays, April 20th through May 25th. So that's already started, and that's for ages 1 through 5. So again, all those people should contact Recreation.
Okay.
There's a lot going on at Recreation.
Yes. Two things I do want to mention. The playground, the work has been done with remulching, all new. It's really been greatly improved. The other thing is on the wading pool, the contractor came in and did the repair work on the fiberglass. But we're facing somewhat of a challenge, and I think we can all agree with the cool weather that we're experiencing. Part of the work that they didn't hold up in a short period of time, so they're coming back and repairing that. And once that's done, then they will paint the pool. The paint has to have 7 days to cure. Given what the weather's like this week, the fiberglass may not get done. So we're still trying to get the wading pool open for Memorial Day weekend, but if the weather doesn't cooperate, there's really not much. And if the weather's as bad as that weekend, nobody's going in there. Anyway, but Buildings and Grounds is working hard trying to get this, the facility in shape to open, and it's just the weather just hasn't been on our side with it. Economic Development Advisory, I think they're working with the consultant that the town board approved to help them along with their plan and come up with some design and effort. I think they're going to put in eventually for a small grant, but hopefully we'll get some update on that, but I think they're pretty focused on that project right now. So we have warrant number 5. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Public comment on any items? Yes, Mary Beth.
I would just like to say thank the board and welcome everyone for coming to the Sands Ring event on Armed Forces Day. And I just wanted to let everyone know that Sands Ring will be open for tours throughout that time period. So we hope that families come not just to support our troops, but to also actually experience Sands Ring Homestead as was done 100 years ago. And we do have actual documentation that the items were collected 100 years ago for World War I. And I also want to just remind everybody that the Saturday Farmers Market is this Saturday, May 13th, 10:30 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. We'd love to be outside, but I don't know with this weather if that's going to actually come to be. We will be outside on the other side of the pond since the garden club will be out front here at Town Hall. So hopefully everyone will stop at the garden club and then come right over to us and do their shopping. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla? Go ahead.
Thank you. Just a question to clarify with regard to number 8, the request to use the senior league field. If I understood you correctly, Mr. Supervisor, the town will require a certificate of insurance naming the town as additional insured.
Correct.
Is that certificate to be filed with the clerk's?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's standard, just to protect the
Very
town.
good.
But
Thank you very much.
thank you. And you're working that out with Little League on scheduling and all?
Yes, sir.
That's fine. Yes, Carla?
Okay, so I'll try to remember what we covered during the CAC. One thing is that we anxiously await for the, hopefully, positive reply to the tree inventory grant that should be coming out very soon. We had 2 new approvals, thanks to the board, so we had a quorum and very excitedly approves 3 months' worth of minutes. And one of the new ideas that came up is the exploration of the possibility of a community garden, first scoping out feasibility, interest, and then seeing if there's a potential site. We're going to table at Riverfest this month, and Mary Pearsall will be making a banner for the CAC that will be displayed. Okay, and then on to just quick reports. As I started the 2nd annual Riverkeeper Sweep, 75 people, 24 bags of recycling collected, 11 bags of trash, plus a 75-pound waterlogged plastic container. Who knows what was in it? And we had participation from the Cornwall Boy Scout Troop, 118, Washingtonville Boy Scout Troop, 16, NEMA students, Storm King School, Cornwall High School Key Club, and Honor Society, Town, Village, and residents, CAC members, and the village DPW staff were fantastic. They came out and brought 2 separate collection trucks to make sure that recycling was collected separately from trash. Bernie Sussman tree, as I reported during the work session, successfully planted at Sands Ring Homestead in his honor. 30 people attended, thanks to the town board, Linda Marasco, Renata, Sabrina, the Gary Roach, the tree warden, and the buildings and grounds folks for making it all happen. Keep America Beautiful report. We've saved $100 for the town thus far. We're hoping to reach the maximum annual with the bins that we have of $1,600 annually. That's our goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Anyone else? Hearing no one, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Discussion?
Happy
Adjourn.
Mother's Day coming up.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
happy
happy
Mother's
Mother's
Day
Day.
for all the mothers. Hopefully the weather will be good and the sun will be shining.
Mr. Russell? Yes? Motion to
Yes.
adjourn?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt? Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Thank you all very much. Here, you want to sign this?
Give him.